All right, let's continue on with compound inequalities. Chucky, in Florida, the minimum speed limit on a 4-lane highway is 40 miles per hour. The maximum speed limit is 65 miles an hour. What's an acceptable speed limit that I could be going and not get a ticket? 50. 50 is what in comparison to 40 and 65? It's where? I'm looking for a keyword. Starting with I, ends in between. Starts with an I, in between. So with these problems, Chucky, it's any value in between, right? That's why 55 works, right? So how do we do this? Well, up here, 40 is going to be way down here. And then we'll do 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90. The minimum we can drive is 40, so that's going to be a closed circle. The maximum I can drive is 65. That's a closed circle. And then, Chucky, we're going to shade in between. It's an and inequality here. Okay? The life zones on Mount Rainier can approximately be classified by elevation. Did you guys know that? Louis, are you getting this down? Do you know that, Louis, that life zones can be classified by elevation, particularly plant life? Have you ever been hiking?
No.
Yeah, you don't strike me as. John, have you ever been hiking? Maddie? You have?
Yeah.
Where have you hiked?
I have absolutely no clue.
Was it a mountain? Was it in Pennsylvania?
No.
New York?
Yeah.
Adirondacks? Sound about right? All right, Louis. So the Adirondacks, place where I've gone a bunch. Have you been there? Pretty cool, right? They make good chairs up there.
Yeah.
Now, so the Adirondacks, they have very, very tall mountains. And as you hike up, it's actually kind of cool because you start at the bottom, you have these real big trees. Kind of think of like big pine trees, okay? And the higher up you get, do you know what happens to the pine trees? Smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Do you know why? It's the lack of oxygen and nutrients that is not up there. So the trees get smaller and smaller. So like when you get up to the top, it's kind of funny because a lot of the mountains are around like 4,000, and that's where like all of a sudden it's like the tree line. It's like all of a sudden you come out of the trees and you're like, there's no more trees. What just happened? So here on Mount Rainier, it says the low elevation forest ranges from 1,700 feet above to 2,500 feet above. So real quick, we're just going to put 1,700 right here. Then we're going to go 1,800, 1,900, 2,000, 2,100, 2,200, 2,300, 2,400, 2,500. Now I'm not going to go much further because I just have to go from 1,700 to 2,500. So it's going to be a closed circle here and a closed circle here. I'm going to be shading in between. All right, a number x is fewer than -6 and or no less than -3. So on this one, Maddie, they're trying to trick us, okay? So first thing I want to do is I want to get a number line with -6 and -3 on it, right? Because those are my two important numbers. So go ahead and make a number line, doesn't really matter, okay? You with me, Mike?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we have this number line. It says a number x is fewer than -6. So which direction is fewer, left or right? Annie, what do you think? Mhm. Which direction, left or right, would be fewer? Left. So it says a number x is fewer than -6. So it's going to be an open circle because it just says fewer, Louis. And we're shading left. Or, right, because we know which what an OR inequality looks like, right? It's like two circles, and then we shade away from each other. So, or no less. Now, no less is tricky because it means I could be -3, but it can't be less than -3. Or no less. Now, these were one of those ones I was telling you was tricky because or no less, it uses the word less. So you're thinking you're going to shade to the left, but we know because of this word or that my graphs need to be going away from each other. So we shade to the right. That pen works well for everybody else except for me.
It's a great time.
It's an awful pen. I hate it. All right, a number x is greater than -8 and less than or equal to -4. So Louis, what two numbers do I need on a number line here? Okay, so Louis, make a number line that has -8 and 4 on it. Okay. All right, so I just counted by twos. Now it says a number x is greater than. Greater than is associated with going to the right. Is greater than, meaning it's an open circle. And less than. We know an and inequality, they shade towards each other. All right? So and less than or equal to, meaning a closed circle at 4, and we shade towards each other. You okay with this? Don, you okay with this? How are you doing graphing? Oh. Where are you? Oh, okay. All right. Number 5, a number C is no more than -4, or at most -6.5. Now, Nate, this is where it gets difficult, right? What two numbers do I need to put on my number line? Okay. Okay. How do we put -6.5 on a number line? Do you know? No, it's easy, Nate. Watch this. Yeah, I could put it halfway between -6 and 7. Or I could just do -6.5. Whatever floats your boat. For you guys, I recommend let's just go with whole numbers and then put -6.5 between -6 and -7. So here, I'm going to go -9, -8, -7, -6, -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1. So I need to figure out, is it an and or an or? So it says a number C is more than -4, or, so that means they're going to be shading away from each other. So is more than, let's see, okay, so it's just an open circle. More than, that's to the right, or at most. Now, at most, Louis, is difficult because at most means like it's sounding like it's more than, right? Because it's using that word most. When in reality, it means I can't go past -6.5, which kind of tells me I have to be less than that. Got it?
All right.
Almost tripped.
Good trip.
I love that. Sweet trip to the nurse. get some Tums. Maybe go home early.
I don't think so. It didn't work for number 7 today,
He doesn't know how to sell it like I do.
so. Huh?
He doesn't know how to sell it like I do. I've taken many acting classes. No. What'd you say?
Why actually do it?
Oh, I want to. I want to spend time with you. And that's on YouTube. So, and according to my list of 150 ways to show kids you care, I'm pretty sure that's on there. All right. Now, outside of like word problem-ish things, okay, we have straight up math ones. Remember I told you that when it says the word or, that's going to be an or inequality. If it doesn't say the word or, then it's and. So up here, notice there is no words in it. So this is an and inequality, meaning when I'm done, I'm going to be shading towards each other. So here I have a left, middle, and a right. So I kind of have 3 quadrants. Okay. Not quadrants, but sectors, if you will. So I'm going to add 2. Why am I adding 2? Well, I'm going to add 2 because it says x minus 2. So I'm really focusing on what's happening with the x. So in order to undo a minus 2, I'm going to add 2. And that's going to give me negative 2 is less than x, which is less than 5. So up here, I need to have negative 2 and 5 on here. So I'm going to do negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So at negative 2, I'm going to have an open circle. And at 5, I'm going to have an open circle. And I shade in between because it's an and inequality. Kimmy, okay? Ellie, what type of inequality is number 3? And or?
Um, it's like not, I don't know.
Is it and or? See, it's a 50-50. Which
Isn't
one?
it and?
It is and, because it doesn't have the word or. So here, I have a left, middle, and right. I'm going to really focus what's going on with the x. It says negative 2x plus 1. So I have to undo the minus 1. So I'm going to subtract 1. That's going to give me negative 4 is less than negative 2, which is less than or equal to 8. Now I need to divide by negative 2. Uh-oh. Why do I have to be careful here, John? Yeah, because I'm dividing by a negative. So, yeah. What do I do when I divide by a negative 2? Well, that's the whole thing, right? So you have to be careful because you're dividing by a negative. Right, John? What do we do when we divide by a negative with inequality? What do we do with the symbols? We switch them. Okay? So that's all it is. You have to realize that you're dividing by a negative, so you have to flip your sign. So negative 4 divided by negative 2 is 2. Flip your sign. The 2 negative 2's in the middle, they cancel. Flip your sign. 8 divided by negative 2 is negative 4. So now I got this. And this looks weird because it's backwards, right? But Chucky, the way I do this is I don't worry about stuff like that. I put my number line down. I have to encompass 2 and a negative 4, or a positive 4. All right. I'm going to have an open circle at 2. I'm going to have a closed circle at negative 4. But Chucky, this is why I don't let it bother me, okay? I knew, because Ellie told me, that it's an and inequality. And inequalities, Lubu, the sheet in between. Lou, you know the answer's not on your phone, right? I know. There's many interesting things going on in the world right now. Right? Like your ranking in Call of Duty, Cold War. It's going down. Your KDR stinks. You're not doing it anymore? You're trying to focus on school? That's what I heard. You hear it? I heard it. Oh my gosh. I'm really grateful you're focusing on school now. It really warms my heart, just like this heater. All right, these two problems. Now these are or problems because they have the word or. So what I have to do here is I have to treat them separately. So I'm going to go ahead and add 5. Nate, you with me? Add 5. So 3y is less than -3. And then I divide by 3. And that's y is less than -1. And then on the right-hand side, let me go ahead and add 1. All right, Tyler?
All right.
And that gives me 2y is greater than 6. Divide by 2, and y is greater than 3. And it's or, and I'm emphasizing that. So I have my number line, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to put an open circle at -1, an open circle at 3, and I'm going to shade away from each other. Because it's or. It's what we do. Last but not least, with this example, I have to subtract 6. That gives me 2x is less than -8. Divide by 2 gives me x is less than -4. On the right-hand side, I add 5. And I have 4x is greater than 8. Divide by 4, it gives me x is greater than 2. So I go ahead, make my number line, -7, -6, -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Doesn't matter what numbers you pick, just picking random numbers. So we have -4, it's going to be an open circle. At 2, it's going to be an open circle, and it's an or inequality, so we shade away from each other. Any questions? Louis, got it all? You sure? Positive. And I think that's it in our book, correct, Mrs. Simonian? The next is absolute value? Yeah. No, I think that's it for our book. So